Hello everyone, I am your teacher, Ms. Daisy Sanchez, and today we will talk about the basic proportionality on triangles. So I want you to listen very carefully. Is that okay? So let's start now. Before we begin to start our lesson, let us know first the definition of proportion.
A proportion is an equality of two ratios. In simple definitions, proportion is a name we give to a statement that two ratios are equal. It can be written in two ways. It is either in two equal fractions or using a colon.
But in the proportionality of triangles, there are some consequences that we need to consider when we answer the questions related to basic proportionality of triangles. And there is a theorem called the basic proportionality theorem, which is also called the Thales theorem, that states that if a line is parallel to one side of the triangle and intersects the other two sides at any two distinct points, then it intersects segments that are proportional to these sides. Let me give you some examples.
Look at the figure. It says that line XY is parallel to line BC, which is correct when you look at the figure. Here, you can now make conclusions for our answer, which needs the knowledge about the basic proportionality theorem. Then, AX over BY is equal to AY over AC. There is also a related concept about basic proportionality of triangles, which is called the converse of basic proportionality theorem, which also helps us to understand the basic proportionality of triangles. It says that if a line intersects the two sides of a triangle and intersects segments proportional to these sides, then it is parallel to the third side. Let me give you also an example for you to understand it. The problem says that if AX over AV is equal to AY over AC. So in here, the converse of basic proportionality theorem concludes that line segment XY is parallel to line segment BC. Just like what I have said before, in answering questions that are related to basic proportionality theorem, there are some consequences that we need to consider when we answer questions related to this topic. So I introduce to you your new student teacher, Miss Janet Montenegro, to explain to you this topic.
Okay class, I am your teacher Janet and I will explain to you this topic further. Just like what Miss Stacy said, in answering questions that are related to basic proportionality theorem, there are some consequences that we need to consider when we answer questions related to this topic. Just like the segments cut by a transversal, it says that on any two transversals, parallel lines cut off segments whose lengths are proportional. Here's another example for you to understand it. It says that AD parallel to BE parallel to CF, which is very understandable by just simply looking at the figure. Another consequence is segments cut by an angle bisector. Here is an example. Given triangle ABC, the bisector of angle A intersects line BC at D. Then, BD over DC is equal to AB over AC. And that's the end of our lesson. Did you understand it? I hope you do. So that's the end of our lesson. Goodbye, class.